Hello everyone, welcome back. This side Chavi, and this is part 2 of chapter 7, Changing Cultural Traditions from History. In this, we will cover from page number 154 till 157 of your NCERT book. But before I start, I request you all do like, share and subscribe. So students, as we learned in previous video that Italian cities were not a part of any empire, but they turn as independent city states. For example, Florence and Venice were republics. Means over here, people had a direct control on the governance of that place. And many others were court cities, means they were ruled by princes. Now we will understand about the city-state concept as explained by scholar Cardinal Gasparo Contarini. He wrote about the Commonwealth and Government of Venice. According to this, Commonwealth over here means independent region. He explained that these city-states are those which were ruled by the gentlemen above the age of 25 years. Even he said that these people should be nobles through lineage. There is a proper reason behind it, keeping a noble as an authority, because many troubles arise in those cities whose government is swayed by the common people. If nobles would be at that place, the problems will be solved in a better and easier manner. Now, this estimation of nobility is judged not by the estimation of wealth, but the one who can control the country in a wise manner. This is all explained by Gasparo in the city-state concept. After the city-state concept, now we will discuss about universities and humanism, which is given on page number 155. The earliest universities in Europe had been set up in Italian towns by the 11th century. The universities of Padua and Bologna had been centers of legal studies, and law was studied in the context of earlier Roman culture. But with the change in time, there was a shift in studies, in culture of learning, as explained by Roman scholar Francesco Petrarch. He was the one who represented this change and stressed the importance of a close reading of ancient authors. According to that, educational program implied that there was much to be learnt which religious teachings alone could not give. This was the culture which historians in the 19th century were to label as humanism. By the early 15th century, the term humanist was used for masters who taught different subjects apart from law like grammar, rhetoric, poetry, history, and moral philosophy. These subjects were not drawn or connected with religion, but they emphasized skills developed by individuals through discussion and debate. These revolutionary ideas of humanism attracted attention in many other universities, particularly in the newly established university in Petrarch's own hometown of Florence. Better remember that this city, till the end of the 13th century, had not made a mark or was not known a lot by the people. But with the change in time, or dramatically in the 15th century, a city is known by the work of its great citizen. And few examples I have mentioned over here. It include Dante Alighieri, a layman who wrote on religious themes. Another was Giotto, an artist who painted lifelike portraits, very different from the stiff figures done by earlier artists. From them, it developed as the most exciting intellectual city in Italy because of the artistic creativity found in the people over there. This led to the beginning of a new term that is known as Renaissance man. It means one who possesses skills and knowledge in many different areas. There is one easy example related with it. Bob can fix cars, repair computers, and talk about anything from physics to philosophy. He's an all rounder and a Renaissance man. So, Renaissance man is often used to describe a person with many interests and skills because many of the individuals who became well known at this time were people of many parts. They were scholars, diplomat, theologian, artists combined in one. Humanist view of history. The humanists thought that they were restoring true civilization after centuries of darkness, for they believed that a dark age had set in after the collapse of Roman Empire. And because of this, they divided the European history into various periods. The periodization is explained in this slide. As you can see, from 5th to 14th century is marked as the Middle Ages. Students, the term Middle Age or medieval period was used for the millennium. Millennium stands for 1,000 years. In this, they argued that after the fall of Rome, the church had such complete control over men's mind. This 5th to 14th century is further divided. From 5th to 9th, it was known as the Dark Age, 9 to 11, the Early Middle Age, 11 to 14 as the Late Middle Age, and after 14th century and 15th century onwards is the Modern Age. But this periodization or division was questioned by various historians. With more research being done and more being found out about Europe in this period, scholars increasingly reluctant to make sharp divisions between centuries in terms of being culturally vibrant or otherwise. It seems unfair to label any period as the Dark Age. So now our next topic is science and philosophy, the Arabs' contribution. In this, it's all about the modern age. Greek and Arabic were languages known by Europeans. So at that time, clergymen, including pope, bishops, monks, were more familiar with Greek. But they had not made this text widely known to everyone by the 14th century. That is why it is written in the heading Science and Philosophy, the Arabs' Contribution. Arabs played a very important role because they translated works of Greek writers like Plato and Aristotle. They translated the work for the person who won't understand Greek at that time. They had carefully preserved and translated ancient manuscripts. In these translations, Plato was known as Aflatun, while Aristotle was known as Aristu in Arabic. Some European scholars read Greek in Arabic translation. The Greek translated works of Arabic and Persian scholars for further transmission to other Europeans, and this all occur in the 15th century onwards. These were works on various things including natural science, mathematics, astronomy, where astronomy means study of planets, medicine, and chemistry. These translations helped the people to learn about the work of various intellectuals like Ptolemy, Almagest, even about the Muslim writers who were regarded as men of wisdom in the Italian world were Ibn Sina, an Arab physician and philosopher of Bukhara in Central Asia known as Al-Razi, who was the author of Medical Encyclopedia. Ibn Rushd, an Arab philosopher of Spain, tried to resolve the tension between philosophical knowledge and religious belief. All these things were learnt by the various people at that time. From here, we learn that humanists reached out to people in a variety of ways. So, this is all for today. I hope you have understood. For better understanding, please read till page number 157 of your NCERT book. In last, this is your home task. Do this work in your register. In case of any further doubt, even for writing the question, feel free to write in the comment section. Otherwise, we will discuss in your upcoming class. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Stay safe and healthy.